ruin Caitlin Clark fan base. Only way this stuff could change is if we, the fans, voice our opinions online, in videos, and make it loud enough so the front office can hear it. I don't know what the case is, but at the end of the day, this isn't Caitlin Clark basketball team no more. It's Stephanie White's team. When you got a superstar player like Caitlin Clark, she should be the focal point of the offense, defense, every aspect of that team. The money she's generating for the league.
Recent developments have intensified discussions surrounding the Indiana Fever's coaching philosophy and its compatibility with Caitlin Clark's playing style. Video footage and commentary from head coach Stephanie White have sparked controversy about the team's strategic direction and priorities. The situation reached a boiling point following the team's recent performance, which has led to widespread criticism of White's coaching methods. Observers have noted a fundamental disconnect between the coach's preferred system and the optimal utilization of Clark's talents. This tension has become increasingly apparent as the season progresses. White's implementation of a motion offense has drawn particular scrutiny from fans and analysts.
Aspect of that team, the money she's generating for the league, but especially the Indiana Fever, is unprecedented right now. And we have to look deep within our hearts to figure out why Stephanie White is doing this. And I didn't look deep and soul searched in mine. And to me, it looked like she just don't like Caitlin Clark's style of play, bro. She's an old school coach. I said this yesterday on live. She wanted to be Cheryl Reeve 2.0, but she don't have all the accolades that Cheryl has. Any team she ever had, she really didn't assemble that team.
The system appears to limit Clark's natural playmaking abilities and reduces her impact on offensive possessions. Many supporters have expressed frustration with this approach, arguing that it fails to maximize the potential of their most valuable player. The coaching staff's philosophy became clearer during a broadcast segment where White discussed team dynamics with different lineup configurations. Her comments about ball movement and player involvement revealed preferences that seemed to conflict with Clark's ball-dominant playing style. These observations have fueled speculation about underlying tensions within the organization. Fan sentiment has reached concerning levels, with many threatening to discontinue their support if current trends continue.
Any team she ever had, she really didn't assemble that team. See, we was caught up in the fixation that Christy Sides was so bad, we overlooked Stephanie White problems. See, Stephanie White came with a whole bunch of baggage, but we didn't trip off the baggage because Christy Sides was so bad. Well, I'm here to tell you, the baggage is finally being exposed, and Stephanie White would be a great coach if she let Caitlin Clark do her thing. But at the end of the day, she's not doing that. But let's dive into the story right now, and that is
social media platforms have seen increasing criticism of the coaching staff's decisions and their impact on team performance. The passionate fan base that Clark brought to Indiana appears increasingly dissatisfied with the direction of the franchise. Commentary from analyst Carolyn Peck added fuel to the controversy by suggesting that Indiana operates more effectively without Clark on the court. Peck's analysis emphasized the team's improved ball movement and offensive flow during Clark's absence, observations that align with White's apparent preferences for team-oriented basketball. The analyst noted that Clark's ball-dominant style creates predictable offensive patterns that opponents can more easily defend. In contrast, games without Clark featured increased player movement, better ball distribution, and more diverse scoring threats.
Right now, and that is, this is a tweet that I came across. It states, this sounds exactly how Carolyn Peck said the Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin Clark. To what Stephanie White has to say about none other than Luka being in the game. Listen to this guy.
A wrist sprain in that game and has been out since. And that puts a lot on the plate of players like Spencer Dinwiddie, who just came in, who finds Marshall for the corner three.
When you see the Mavs just play.
This perspective supports the coaching staff's emphasis on motion-based offensive systems. However, critics argue that this approach fundamentally misunderstands Clark's value and impact. Her ability to create scoring opportunities, both for herself and teammates, represents a unique asset that should serve as the foundation for tactical planning. Restricting her influence through systematic limitations appears counterproductive to many observers. The coaching philosophy extends beyond offensive strategy to broader questions about player development development and utilization. White's background suggests preferences for traditional basketball concepts that may not align with modern analytics and player-specific optimization.
When you see the Mavs just play differently without moving on the floor, he's a guy who's high usage rate, the ball's in his hands. When he's not on the floor, that ball is moving, it's popping, multiple players getting involved in action, and everyone's stepping up.
Lower usage rate for him.
Now, did y'all hear Stephanie White say the ball's moving, it's popping, it's getting in action? This is her pretty much confirming she don't like Caitlin Clark's style of play. Caitlin Clark has to have the ball in her hands to be dominant, bro. And at this point, it's looking real spooky. Now,
This disconnect becomes particularly problematic when managing generational talents like Clark. Fan surveys have revealed the depth of concern within the supporter base regarding organizational priorities. The overwhelming majority indicated that Clark's departure would result in their own disengagement from the franchise. This dependency creates significant pressure on the organization to maintain their star player's satisfaction and maximize her career trajectory. The business implications of these dynamics cannot be ignored. Clark's presence has generated unprecedented revenue and attention for both the franchise and the league.
Spooky. Now, CC AKG also stated, Carlin Peck said the Fevers are more dangerous without Caitlin Clark. Now, this is what Caitlin Peck said. Listen to this once again. I know we heard a lot, but all of this stuff go hand in hand. Listen.
We were at that game just now. Look, the Fever have been on a tear. They've won 2 in a row, a 25-point blowout of the Lynx in the Commissioner's Cup final, and then 27 against the Aces in this one. And both of those games without Caitlin Clark. How is Indiana getting this done?
Any decisions that jeopardize this relationship could have catastrophic financial consequences for the organization and its stakeholders. Survey data also highlighted questions about the franchise's long-term vision and commitment to building around Clark's talents. Many respondents expressed skepticism about the organization's willingness to prioritize on-court success over broader business objectives. This perception creates additional tension between fan expectations and organizational decision-making. The comparison to other coaching philosophies has become a frequent topic of discussion among supporters.
Both of those games without Caitlin Clark. How is Indiana getting this done right now?
Look, I think that Indiana is even more dangerous when Caitlin Clark doesn't play because she's a ball-dominant guard. The ball's in her hands a lot, so you know what you need to try to take away. But when you look at Indiana now, they've got so many weapons. And Kelsey Mitchell is playing out of her mind. Aaliyah Boston. I talked to Stephanie White before the game. She said in year one, Aaliyah Boston.
References to coaches who emphasize player freedom and individual expression suggest that alternative approaches might better serve Clark's development and the team's championship aspirations. These comparisons highlight the opportunity cost of current strategic choices. White's coaching background includes experiences that may not translate effectively to managing superstar-level talent. Her previous positions involved different roster compositions and competitive expectations, potentially creating challenges in adapting to the unique circumstances surrounding Clark's presence on the team. The situation has created a challenging dynamic where short-term success during Clark's absence might reinforce coaching decisions that limit long-term potential.
Boston was back to the basket. Year 2, two-man game. Year 3, they're using her as a decision maker. And so when you have a point guard like Kelsey Mitchell and Ari McDonald making plays on the perimeter and a post like Aaliyah Boston, I'm going to tell you, Indiana, they are a threat, and specifically on the defensive end. Stephanie is so pleased with the intensity that they're bringing defensively with their length, their switches.
While the team has shown capability in certain areas, the fundamental question remains whether this approach represents optimal utilization of available talent. Organizational culture and communication patterns have also come under scrutiny. The apparent disconnect between coaching philosophy and star player optimization suggests broader issues with strategic alignment and decision-making processes. Successful franchises typically demonstrate better coordination between personnel acquisition and tactical implementation. The timeline for resolution becomes increasingly important as the season progresses.
Staring down, we've heard it all before. Caitlin Clark, we're playing off the ball and going like, I need to be a better screener.
Some pressure off you with Ari kind of running point in some actions and you playing off the ball. Just how do you think that will help when you reintegrate onto the court?
Yeah, I mean, It'll be nice probably not to have to bring the ball up against pressure 94 feet. But like I said, like, that's what I'm best at. So we're still going to do a lot of that. It's, I think, finding a balance and finding the ways to give the defense different looks and, you know, me becoming a better screener. And
Continued tensions between coaching philosophy and player optimization could influence future roster decisions, including potential trades or free agency departures. The organization faces pressure to address these concerns before they escalate further. Fan activism and public pressure represent additional factors in this equation. The passionate supporter base that Clark attracts possesses significant influence through attendance, merchandise purchases, and media attention. Their dissatisfaction could create external pressure for organizational changes if current trends continue.
You know, me becoming a better screener and
Me becoming a better screener. Not only that, if you guys didn't see, at the end of the game, Stephanie White, in her press conference, was talking about how the team just didn't show any... Basically, she was just like, they didn't show any fight. They didn't show any fight. And let's be real, she's not wrong. The team showed absolutely no fight whatsoever.
The broader implications extend beyond Indiana to league-wide discussions about player development and coaching philosophy. The situation serves as a case study for how organizations should adapt their systems to maximize generational talents rather than forcing such players into predetermined frameworks. Ultimately, the resolution of these tensions will likely determine both Clark's future with the organization and the franchise's competitive trajectory. The coaching staff faces mounting pressure to demonstrate tactical flexibility while maintaining their preferred philosophical approach. Finding this balance represents perhaps the most critical challenge facing the organization as they navigate this complex situation.
She was talking about how the team didn't put in any effort. And you had Caitlin Clark right before leading the team on a huge run. Show some emotion. Have some emotion. The team was dead. They went down 15 points to start the third quarter and they gave up. And that's one of the scary things is that you saw Caitlin Clark last year.
Recent footage from a crucial timeout reveals significant issues within the Indiana Fever's team culture and competitive spirit. During a moment when the team trailed by 15 points, what followed demonstrated both individual leadership and systemic organizational problems that define their current struggles. Following this particular timeout, the Fever executed a 13-minutes 3-scoring run, primarily featuring KK Samuelson and Damiris Dantas on the court. However, the circumstances surrounding this rally expose deeper concerns about team mentality and coaching dynamics that persist throughout the season. Clark's public comments about playing off-ball positions reveal frustration with her role adjustments.
And one of the games was this day last year. It was this day last year, 10th July. It was July the 10th. And they lost this game, by the way. They lost this game. And this is what I will say. So you see this game right here. The Mystics were unbelievable. The Mystics were fantastic in this game. The Fever were 9-14. So the Fever started 1-8. So they were 8-6 in their last 14 games. Or not 8-6, sorry.
When asked about reducing ball handling pressure by having teammates initiate offense, she acknowledged potential benefits while emphasizing her natural strengths. Her statement about needing to become a better screener suggests organizational pressure to adapt her game rather than maximize existing talents. Post-game press conferences highlight disconnects between coaching assessments and player performance. Stephanie White criticized the team's lack of fight and effort following their defeat, yet this criticism came after Clark had demonstrated visible leadership during the timeout and sparked the team's only sustained rally. The timeout footage shows Clark attempting to motivate teammates who appeared emotionally disconnected from the game's outcome.
Not 8-6, sorry. That was their 14th loss. They were 8-5 in their last 13 games before this, so they were on a run. And they lost this game by 5. But if you guys didn't see, 29 points in the fourth quarter from the Fever to 13. This game was just... If you guys did not see this game, they were down big, and then all of a sudden, it's a 17-point game with 4 minutes.
Her role as the primary voice encouraging teammates raises questions about leadership dynamics and coaching effectiveness during crucial moments. Historical comparisons illuminate the transformation in team culture and competitive spirit. Exactly 1 year prior, on July 10th, the Fever demonstrated remarkable resilience against Washington. Despite starting poorly at 1 Mets 8, they had compiled an 8-5 record in their previous 13 games before this particular contest. That previous season's game exemplified the fighting spirit currently absent from the roster.
With 4 minutes to go. With 4 minutes to go in the game, the Mystics have a 94% chance of winning. And this is what I mean when it's like, this team feeds off energy. There's 4 minutes to go. They are down 17 points. And Caitlin Clark wills this team back in. And not all through her scoring, through her passing, everything. And all of a sudden, they go back to 3. They get it back to...
After falling behind significantly, the Fever mounted a dramatic fourth quarter comeback, outscoring Washington 29-13 in the final period. With 4 minutes remaining and facing a 17-point deficit, statistical models gave them only a 6 to 7% chance of victory. Clark's influence during that historic comeback extended beyond individual scoring. Through playmaking, assists, and leadership, she orchestrated a rally that brought the deficit to just 3 points with 45 seconds remaining. The team's collective response to her energy created an atmosphere of belief and determination.
Back to 3. They get it back to a 3-point game with 45 seconds to go after Caitlin makes 2 free throws. She willed them. This team had fight. This team had grit. That is what they did last year. Fever versus Mercury. Last year, Fever versus the Mercury, the game they won on the 30th of June 2024. Around this time last year. The Indiana Fever, in the third quarter, were down 15 points.
Another compelling example occurred during their June 30th, 2024 victory against Phoenix. The Fever trailed by 15 points with 7:53 remaining in the third quarter before Clark initiated a stunning reversal. Her sequence of plays included personal scoring, assists to teammates, and facilitating actions that resulted in consistent offensive production. The scoring run during that Phoenix game illustrates Clark's comprehensive impact. She directly scored or assisted on nearly every basket during a stretch that transformed a 15-point deficit into a 10-point lead within 6 minutes.
Third quarter, we're down 15 points. They were down 15 points with 7:53 to go in the third quarter. Caitlin Clark makes a layup. Nalissa Smith makes a 2-point off a Clark assist. Kelsey Mitchell makes a shot. Clark assist. Caitlin Clark makes a 3. Becca Allen makes a layup. Christy Wallace makes a layup. Clark assists. Aaliyah Boston makes a layup. Aaliyah Boston makes a 2-point shot. Clark assists. Kelsey Mitchell makes a shot. Caitlin Clark hockey assists. Kelsey Mitchell makes a 3. Clark assist. Nalissa.
Teammates including Kelsey Mitchell, Nalissa Smith, Temi Fagbenlow, and Aaliyah Boston all contributed while following Clark's aggressive tempo. Mitchell, Smith, and other players demonstrated willingness to match Clark's intensity and execute at her preferred pace. The collective effort created momentum that overwhelmed Phoenix's defense and energized the entire roster. Current team dynamics contrast sharply with these previous examples. Players now exhibit resigned acceptance when facing deficits, displaying minimal emotional investment in competitive outcomes.